All right guys, we're out here. It's a nice sunny day, cloudy, some patchy clouds, some scattered clouds, a little windy, between 10 and 15 miles an hour, not bad. All right, first flight guys, let's see how this works. We're still recording. All right, a little bit different perspective on this thing right here, but whatever. Arm, we're in angle mode. First flight guys, let's do it. All right guys, we're back from the flight and this thing is amazing. This BabyHawk II Analog is a pretty cool drone. Let us start from the beginning here. So we went outside, went to the field, and this thing was quiet. Now I've used these props before in the past, and these props, they work amazingly well. I won't say these are the best for performance, for speed, for, you know, crazy punch outs, but it does give you a smooth flight. It is extremely quiet, guys. These props are amazing. Started flying out and this thing was smooth. Didn't notice anything abnormal. Really smooth flying characteristics. Rates were good, nothing jittery, no bobbles, just smooth. So initial impressions was just amazing, guys. So straight into it, 20-30 seconds into the flight, I got my first breakup. Now this is an analog drone. Interference is a part of the analog life. So yeah, I said, okay, let's just keep flying. So I flew some more, and around the same distance in the opposite direction, same thing, broke up. Maybe I want to say 50 to 100 yards, broke up. And it was kind of weird because we set this up in Betaflight and in the smart audio, and my screen was showing 400 milliwatts. So I couldn't get any further. If I go beyond that, I would totally lose video signal. And guys, I want to say a couple minutes into it, I got a little confused. If you probably hear or heard, I'm like, wait, how long have we been flying? I kind of felt like I was flying for a long time, and I looked at the screen, the timer, and it showed 8 minutes. And that's why, because I kind of got lost track of time there between just flying it smoothly and just worrying about how far this VTX is gonna go. I looked down and it was 8 minutes on the clock. I was surprised. Most of the drones that fly, especially in this range here, give me between 4 and 6 minutes. The X-Night 35 gave me around 8 minutes or so, and that was impressive. So here I am flying, and it's 8 minutes, and No low battery warning, nothing. Look at the battery screen and it's still pretty good. So I said, you know what, this is pretty good. I wasn't even trying for this. Let's just keep flying, keep flying. I kept flying, and sure enough, it went to 9 minutes, then 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I saw the timer start flashing, almost like, I don't know what that means. I have to look into it. Almost like we're not supposed to be flying this long. It's flashing after 10 minutes, then 11 minutes, flashing 12 minutes, and I'm just, holy crap, is the battery voltage right on this? Am I reading this correctly? Is there something wrong with the settings on here? And I used a pretty old battery, actually. I usually number my batteries from oldest to newest, and there's numbers and dates on them, so I know how well the battery is. This was an old battery. This was maybe, yeah, really one of my second or third batteries. And sure enough, the battery went down slowly and slowly. I got to 13 and a half minutes, and okay, time to come in, because it showed the low voltage around 3.5. By the time I landed, it was 13:53 maybe. So equivalent to 14 minutes. 14 minutes of flight on this, and I did not expect that. So I was totally impressed. But that was only one flight. I didn't have a action camera on here for good reason, because this doesn't come with an action camera mount. That's the first thing. And the second thing was the VTX. I wasn't too pleased with the signal output on that, so I just did one flight. But to have almost 14 minutes of flight on your first go, that was totally impressive. All right, guys, so that was the big issue. I came back home to the studio and did some further investigation, and sure enough, the VTX on this unfortunately comes locked from the factory. I don't know, okay, I know why. It's for legal issues or legal reasons, but a bind and fly, come on, guys. So this VTX is locked. It's locked both in the power output, so you're limited to 25 milliwatts, and it's locked to certain bands. Right here, I have a chart with all the bands that's limited or restricted. So you need to have a ham raiders license or an FCC license for that. So it's a legal reason, so you can't choose certain channels, and unfortunately my channel Race Band 7 falls under the one where you have a ham license to operate legally. Now I do have my license, my FCC radios license, so that's not a problem for me. A lot of guys do fly drones over 25 milliwatts. Now if you're in the EU, you know that's a legal issue. It's a legal issue here as well, but we're not like pumping out 1 watt. It's way less than that, guys. I'm using the Unified Pro 32 Nano. So if you are gonna do this, guys, the one thing you have to remember is how to use the button. So now to get into the menu and to navigate in the menu, the categories in the menu, you have to press the button for 3 seconds. So press it for 3 seconds, release it, that gets you in the menu, and then to cycle through the menu, press it for 3 seconds again, and it'll go to another category. And that's how you navigate this whole menu here. So we have channel, we have band, we have power output or power level, limit temperature, the pit mode, crossfire, smart audio, PWM, and audio mic. So those are the different categories. To cycle through those, you have to press that button for 3 seconds. Now to select a mode or select a power range or a channel or a band once you're in that category, you press the button for 1 second, okay? 1 second to select. 3 seconds to move through categories, 1 second to select. Once you select it, then you can press the button for 5 seconds, and that will save your settings. So the main thing to know here to unlock this VTX is that you have to be in the band category. Band. If you're in any other category like power output or smart audio, whatever, it will not unlock for you. So you have to be in the band category and then press the button for 30 seconds. Once you do that, 30 seconds, the VTX is unlocked and you can go to the categories and then change those items in each category, whether it be power output, channel, band. And I did do that, guys, okay? All right, that was a mouthful, guys. And that put a damper on my first day of flying, guys. I went out a few more times to fly this afterwards, went outside, and perfect channel, Race Band 7. And power output is now up to 400 milliwatts, which is amazing. So yeah, guys, put some batteries in here, flew it out. The VTX worked significantly better. I had no issues with it. It is very inconsistent though, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. This drone now flew pretty great. I flew high, low, between gaps, and it's smooth, guys. One of the smoothest, if not the smoothest, 3.5-inch drones or drone that I've ever flown, and that's a big, big praise there, guys. This thing is straight as an arrow. Fly this thing up, down, doing dives, and this thing will not budge. As I said, it feels like a leaf. Most of the time when you cut power, you go straight down, you get a little buffeting. And this thing had a little bit of it, but not as much as the other drones that have flown. Going straight down, it is smooth, guys. I've done a few of those in the video here. I'll show you. Did a few of those today, actually, this morning, and that thing just stays straight like an arrow. Nothing is influencing this. Now, today was a pretty average day, between 9 and 10 miles an hour winds. Nothing crazy, pretty average in Florida. But yeah, this thing flew amazingly well, guys. Now, that same couple batteries, same couple flights, I did fly this thing long distance, if you want to call it long distance, but just not super long, just medium. Guys, it flew well. Now, I'm using a Express LRS module on here. This is the one here by Beta FPV, and that thing works really well. Never once did I have any jitters, never loss of telemetry, low RSSI, nothing. It works great, guys, and I'm using pretty much the smallest receiver, the one with the ceramic antenna, so there's no really big antenna out here. I flew between buildings. There's a lot of construction out here. There's trucks, there's machinery, and I'm on a bench a few hundred yards away, and this thing worked pretty well. I don't think you're ever gonna fail safe if you have that. Now, having said that, this drone is not optioned out with the Express LRS receiver. I did get the plug and play version with no receiver on here, and I did have to install this, configure this, and bind it to my module. I did do a series of video on that. If you're interested, I'll leave a link down below where you can see that, guys. This is where I said that the VTX is very inconsistent, because sometimes I could be in clear air relatively close and I would have some breakup, and in this case I would go pretty far down the street, down the road, buildings being built, a lot of concrete, water between me, shed, aluminum, everything is between me, and it still gave me a decent video signal. So in that sense, I don't know, it's very inconsistent. I noticed that multiple times throughout the day, yesterday and today. All right, talking about the VTX so much throughout this video. The camera on this thing is pretty good, guys. The camera is not bad. It's my first time using a run cam camera, not bad. A little bit of browns in there, very vibrant, very high contrast image out of this. If you look at the grass, the grass is super green, highly green. That's something I noticed about this. And you know, a lot of cameras have different opinions on what a green looks like. Sometimes you see green, very yellow or orange-like. This one is really dark green, and it's good. It's clear, not bad. No faults with this camera. Pretty good, wide, decent dynamic range. Not bad. It's a pretty good camera, pretty adequate for what's on here. These motors are great, and the props on this, as I said before, great as well. Never once did I have a motor overheat. Every time I came back from a flight, I would touch the motors, and they were very, very cool to the touch. Some of my other drones get pretty warm, but this thing was amazing, guys. The motor's great. And talking about that, the placement of the motors was great as well. Never once did I see the props in view. And you can argue that it's good to see it in view sometimes. I do use my crosshair in my OSD, so I can use that. If you don't have the crosshairs, then you can use your props if they are in view to show if your drone is level, banking up or down, and that's a good indicator of that. Besides the first flight without the action camera and just cruising around, as I said, I got around 14 minutes. With the normal flying, I got between 8 and 9 minutes, which is still pretty impressive on an 850 milliamp hour battery. No issues there, and that's, for an FPV, that's really amazing, guys. This drone here is overall just a really well-balanced drone. It does everything pretty well. As you can see, sometimes I actually did some cinematic stuff. Usually these drones, freestyle drones aren't known for, cinematics being very stable. As you can see in one, it was kind of windy today, but as you can see in one video, this thing was panning straight and smooth, no jitters, no bumps. And you can probably use this for cinematics, guys. So this thing here does everything. You want to do some freestyle, you want to go a little bit fast, do some racing, it can do it. Do some cinematics, it can do it. Really good drone, guys. So with that said, this drone here gets a 4.5 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. It's a really, really good drone, guys. Yeah, it really is impressive. Now, a lot of guys have flown the HD version. Obviously, that comes with other, benefits with long range and good visuals, but it's also expensive. And one of the reasons why I didn't even look for this drone in the digital version. So if you're thinking about getting one of these in the analog, here's your opportunity. I highly recommend you try it out if you have the cash or the ability to do it. Obviously, you can build one yourself if you have the frame, but I think this combination here is honestly really perfect, guys. The reason why it doesn't get a 5-star is because some of the stuff here, let's talk about these wires here exposed. Obviously, some of the newer drones have wire covers, which is really good. The wire management isn't the best, as I shown before in the previous video. And one thing that was really interesting was that this thing did not come with an action camera mount. Now, yeah, they were the first to do this, and a lot of other manufacturers came along and said, okay, well, we want to put an action camera on here, so you might need an action camera mount. Unfortunately, this doesn't come with one, so fortunately I had one laying around for my Smart 35, and the standoff distance is almost identical. The only thing is that there's no bolts in the back for it, so I do have like a double side tape on the back, but the two front bolts line up pretty well, and that's how I could actually install an action camera. I use my Firefly X-Lite, which is a very light action camera here on the market, around 34 to 38 grams, and this thing does 4K 60 frames per second, and it did a pretty damn good job recording it. And that's a good testament to this drone as well. Not many vibration. I didn't see a lot of vibration, didn't see any jello from it, so this thing is tuned very well as far as the tune and the pop combination. And besides this mount not being included in here, you also have this VTX in the back here, which was a pain in the butt. Took me a few minutes to figure it out, and once you figure out it was actually locked, then it took another few minutes to an hour just to understand the unlock process. Overall, guys, I can understand why this drone is this price. Everything I mentioned just now will add a weight and cost to this drone. I'll leave links down below if you want to find this. This thing has just been released in the market, and there's not too many videos on the analog version of this, guys. So anyways, if you have any questions about this drone, anything at all, especially the whole VTX, unlocking process, leave them down below. I will happily answer those. And yeah, guys, and if you got any information or enjoyment from this video, hit that like button. While you're there, take a look at the channel. There's a whole bunch of videos on FPV. I think you'll be very impressed. And while you're there, please consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that, and you'll be notified whenever I do drop a new FPV video, because I have a whole bunch of video in the works right now, and you don't want to miss it, guys. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!